And we live. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Watch My Reviews. This is your boy James. I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. Not gonna happen this video, but that's all right. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my girl, Mrs. Beth. Y'all say what's up to her.
Hello, hello, hello. Like the video, share it, subscribe, all those good things.
Absolutely. Subscribe to both channels. Any recaps that I do not do on my channel, we do on Mrs. Best channel. So we have Basketball Wives, Southern Hip Hop Atlanta, soon Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So you guys don't want to miss it. And I have an updates video coming up on my channel. So you guys make sure you're here for that. So let's get into it because Family Empire Houston was a lot. It was a lot. It was too much for me. And I just want to go to show that I was right on this entire situation when it comes to Lakeisha and the Braden family that were in the home. I was right the entire time. I knew it too. But let's get into it because we're not there yet. So let's get into it. So the episode actually picks up where it left off, where Aunt Nikki, because y'all remember, Nicole and I think that was Aunt Cheryl. No, Aunt Charlotte. Aunt Charlotte were talking about her ideas, and it was a whole bunch of people coming in there talking about, well, you could do this with the land, we could do this. And Uncle Bubba, well, you could build 3, 4 homes on there. And I'm just looking, I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. Granny had it up to here. Granny said, everybody shut up. And I said, that's right, Granny, you tell. Shut that shit up because and then I here come on Nikki. Well, I'm the executor of my mother's estate and I'm her property manager. And I feel I'm going to shut this down because this is not the conversation for this part. You got Monet over here talking about the salon and everything like that. And I'm just looking at Aunt Nikki like, you know, none of this would have happened had you not brought your ass in that room with Jermisha and Jaquita trying to figure out what Nicole was talking about with your nosy ass. None of this would have happened. Mind you, nobody else would have went up in that room trying to have a conversation and say what they're going to do with the land had you not walked into that room. Yeah, Aunt Nikki is a lot. I'm sorry. I'm trying with her. I really am because I want to like her. I do. But she does entirely too much. That when we talked about baby syndrome and my Braxton's, Aunt Nikki has that baby syndrome down to a T. Because we see later on the episode, and I told y'all when I was looking at those family pictures of all of the siblings and stuff, and you saw Paw holding Jermisha, because I could tell that's Jermisha, and Aunt Nikki was right there, and she didn't look about 5 or 6 years old. So I knew there wasn't much age difference, but she is definitely trying to make this dance on this show, y'all. She's trying to be the queen bee. It's a silent queen bee, but she definitely is being there. How'd you feel about that conversation, Mrs. Best?
Same as you. Nikki started some mess and then acted like she had to protect her mama from the mess that she started.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm genuinely not surprised. I don't want Bubba to ever speak again. That's about it.
Speaking of Bubba, so Aunt Joy, which is Bubba's wife, pulls Lakeisha to the side. She said, "Let me talk to you really quickly." And we're like, "Random? Why?" Okay. So she pulls Keisha to the side. Hey, she's 9 years older than Jermisha. Oh, okay. So still less than a decade, and I was about right there around the same age. Thanks. Appreciate that, love us though. We appreciate your comment. So when she pulls Keisha to the side, um, she tells her, I don't know if you have any questions for me, and just made it really awkward in the room because you could tell Lakeisha didn't want to have this conversation. And she was just like, no, my questions have always kind of been the same. Why didn't my father come and get me? Like, what was the situation? Like, why did it have to be somebody else? And she goes, and truth be told, that's what I was mad at. I was mad at the fact that someone else was coming to get you when they had their own situations of an outside child. And I said, ma'am, that is not the point. That is not the point at all. And I was like, wow, because it shouldn't have taken this man who knew he had a baby out there. It shouldn't have taken this man 7 years, and not even 7 years, because he was the one that came and got her. He wasn't even the one that came and got her. It was the aunt the entire time. So you can't feel a way about his sister going to get his child because his sister felt like she didn't want a descendant of the family to just be out there and not know her family. And it was kind of like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this generation where, because it's not a mistake. Keisha's not a mistake, y'all. I'm not saying that, but it was an incident that happened outside of the home. So we gonna bring it in the home. When I say we bring it in home, that's what it was given. So Nicole and Monet walk in, and they're trying to figure out what the conversation is. And Nicole immediately has anxiety because she doesn't want to hear it. And she goes, and Keisha makes the point. I don't feel like the kids shouldn't have been involved in what you adults were feeling. It should have been all about us. And I don't think it should have mattered. And Nicole's like, oh no, it mattered. My mama's feelings matter. No, it definitely does. And I'm looking at Nicole like, we're not talking about that. And that's what I don't think is getting through to them. We're talking about the man having a child and not even going to pick up his child because you didn't have the conversation properly, whatever that conversation was supposed to be, because we still don't even know what that conversation is about Keisha. But you're mad at the aunt that went and got. I'm sorry, I can't with this. I'm even explaining it out of my mouth. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Mrs. Best, how do you feel about this? Because I can't even talk about this.
Nicole's mom's a piece of shit and she needs to grow up.
Okay, I wasn't gonna go that far.
There's a lot of people that get cheated on. Unfortunately, this happens all the time, but I get the feeling that she may have like taught her kids to maybe stick beside her publicly with this whole scenario. I'm also concerned with why her kids know so much about the scenario as a whole. I just get the feeling she's been talking to them about this since Keisha came into their life. If he would have chosen to be with Keisha's mom over her, and then the same things that she's doing and the way that she behaved about the situation she had to experience what she was giving out. That's not a good feeling. So like what I get from it is that the daddy ain't shit and he's probably a terrible parent, because why is your sister and your wife having to deal with the matter of your child? But then on her end, I don't know. I feel like she's used this situation maybe with Bubba for years to get what she wants, win arguments, things of that nature. I feel like part of her is still kind of mad about it, but then another piece of her forgave him so that she could use it as a little bit of leverage. Everything about that lady to me gave manipulative. And Nicole, I think, knows her mom is wrong, but is still going to defend her. She gives that energy. I get that, so I'm not going to be
Yeah,
mad
I
at
would say I'm
that.
not mad at Nicole. I'm not. But the thing about it is that I wish Nicole would look at it a little bit differently. Like, because you don't have to stand hand and foot with your mama as a united front in
The
front of the
way they treat
cameras.
her is
Yeah,
appalling. Like the fact that the show refers to her as
the
Monet
half
and
sister.
Nicole's
Yeah,
half sister. Like they did everything they could to make it known that this was not 100% their blood. And they know that that is intentional. They're doing it because they don't like that there's this outside child. And it's weird that they're handling the situation in the way that they are handling it. I can't comment too much without giving away other scenes. But yeah, I don't respect Bubba, Nicole or Monet's mom, or I just can't. The way they
yeah.
move
We'll
this.
get to that because I kind of looked at them two differently after this episode as well. So moving on from there, it's the next scene. Jaquita and why am I forgetting this man's name all the time? Chris. Sorry, you guys. I'm always forgetting the husband's names. So Jaquita and Chris, they're out getting tacos and they invited Caramel and Lakeisha out to kind of get what's going on because Jaquita knows it. She like me. She knows it. She want to know everybody's business. So when it came down to, them sitting down, Jaquita just get right into it. She goes, "Oh, Jim Bunny. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Something is
Okay.
wrong with him. I'm telling you, the way he spoke, I was like, oh, don't do that again. Don't do it again, Bubba. Just be quiet. You could tell he's the one who nobody could accept was a little bit,
Oh,
delayed. They couldn't accept it. They just too good. You got this, baby. You just
oh,
misunderstood. He heard that his whole life.
Lord Jesus. Anyway, y'all. So she first tells Caramel, I think we got off to kind of like a rough start because we really don't know you. And I would like to get to know you because she's never seen Keisha this so giddy about someone. So she wants to know, like, what is it about Caramel? Where are you from? So we learned that Caramel's from San Diego and that she moved to Houston about 10 years ago. And, Jaquita had to put ignorance in this, but hey, it was funny. She goes, what made you, obviously y'all have kids. Both of you have children. What made you give up men or whatever. And she goes, well, I didn't give up the real. I just traded it in for plastic. And I said, oh, okay. Well, I now have a visual that I can't not see now. Thank you, Caramel. We did not, I mean, you could have just said, I thought women maybe would be easier or something like that. You didn't have to do all of that. But okay, fine. And I know situations that happens a lot. I know women who have dealt with men and just said, forget it, I'm gonna try a woman, and then it ends up being the best thing they ever decided to do. So I know plenty of women like Caramel. I do. But then, the conversation then takes a turn to where we talk about what happened with Joy. And Keisha pretty much put it out there that she really didn't get anything resolved. And she really was, and I was here for it. She didn't really get anything resolved. She said that, Joy pretty much said that it was, someone in the family that, involved themselves when they have their own situation with their own outside kids. And Jaquita looked and she was like, oh, she talking about my mom because that's the only person that went and got you was my mom. And she said, let's be clear, my father does have a son that was prior to my parents' marriage, but the mother pretty much has a great heart because she never shut that son out. As soon as she found out about him, she said, hey, he coming to the house. You gonna be a part of this family and you gonna be loved. And that's kind of where I am with it as well. You guys, I'm not somebody that if I wasn't married to you and I chose to forgive you and we do get married, I'm not going to be angry at no child. You finna come in this house, you a part of the family, you finna eat, you finna get clothed, you finna get all the love I can give you. It's just, that's who I am. So me and Aunt Jackie are a lot alike, where I give a lot of love. I do. It's just who I am. But she felt some way about Aunt Joy putting that business out there. And I don't blame Jaquita. I actually don't. I felt like that was wrong of you to say because your husband didn't handle it any better. At least she
That's
took the
why I say
initiative.
that lady ain't shit. Because come on now, Joy. Why you gotta throw other people under the bus who haven't thrown
Mhm.
you under the bus in any way? Who's to say you wasn't the older one, the other woman first?
Right.
Like
Who's to say if he really didn't love Lakeisha's mom and just settled for you?
it sounds
I
like
knew men
that's
who
what
did that
happened
too.
though.
I'm just saying,
Who
I
was
knew
born
men who did that
first?
as well. Nicole was born first. She was born
Mm.
in January, and then she's a Keisha was born in May, I believe. I believe that's what the age difference is.
Mm.
So I'm
So he
just
went
saying,
and
like,
cheated while one of them was already pregnant.
already pregnant. He does give me like, you have certain men that after a woman gets pregnant and gives birth or whatever, that they don't want to have sex with her anymore because they feel like it's not like I knew a man like that. It was the weirdest shit to me. I was like, what? Like he had got married to a woman, and after they had his son, he didn't want to have sex with her anymore. And I don't know if it's because he was traumatized because he watched the birth, but he literally told me like I never want to have sex with her again. And I'm like, that is crazy that you said that because that's your wife. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So I remember just that situation and then that happening, and I'm just like, maybe that was the circumstance. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, you guys. I'm just speculating because I know someone who actually said that to me, but like maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But Jaquita, this gonna be circling. She gonna get to telling everybody about what happened between her and Keisha. But that was pretty much the scene with them. Did you have anything you want to add, Mrs. Best?
No, Jaquita was
Okay, well,
messy in the right way. Good job.
good job. Yeah, this is reality TV. I love this. So the next thing we see is Nicole popping up at the hair salon that Monet in the beginning of the episode was trying to, make sure she got questioned on what was going to happen to the hair salon. Once Granny goes off to the glory, like, is it in the inheritance? She wasn't trying to put it out there that she wanted to only be her. She just saying, I do work in the salon and I do hair. She worried about her income. And I understood that. I understood what Monet was talking about because everybody is kind of worried about this land, and she wants to make sure that all the other businesses are intact. Which I feel like the grandmother probably does have that intact. I don't think she's leaving it to Monet. I think she's leaving it to one of the other kids, or maybe all of them. But I do feel like if Monet is the only one that works in there and is running it already, I don't understand why it couldn't have been willed to her. But I don't know. Different strokes, different folks. Not my family, so I don't know. But Nicole brings up, or Monet brings up the conversation about Joy having the conversation with Lakeisha, and Nicole was like, "I know, I hate that when they had a conversation because I don't feel like it's appropriate for them to have this conversation when there's nobody to
They
mediate." I'm just
irritated me with that because they mama approached her for one. And two,
right,
why do you have anxiety around them having the conversation? You would only be worried about them having the conversation if you knew something that would make your mama look like she was wrong. Why are
absolutely.
they they irritate my soul. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, you were fine to chime in. This is what I want you to do because I agree with you. I feel like the only reason why y'all get anxiety is because, first off, I'm just going to put it out there. Your mother was not married to him when Nicole and Keisha were born. Your mother was not married to him. They married later on. So this was not an outside situation, as one of the aunts put it. He had two girlfriends, got them both pregnant at the same time, and just chose one of them. So it was kind of one of them situations where I don't understand why y'all are not seeing it that way. I guess because he married your mama and y'all lived in the house together, and then whoops, there go Keisha 7 years later. I don't know if that's what we're doing here, but it's very wrong, and I don't like it, and it just makes me feel like like it's just an energy that I do not care for. I just don't. So is there anything you want to add to this? Because I'm gonna go ahead and move on.
I just want to know why it took 7 years for her to come around. Like he really just ignored his living child and she really allowed that for 7 years. They are trash.
Because yeah, they are trash. Because we'll get to it in a minute. Because I'm trying to say that for the end because the things that she was saying just didn't make any sense to me. Um, the shop is on Nikki's name, and she does hair too. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought Aunt Nikki just worked at the Braden Real Estate with the girls, and that's all she did. I didn't know.
Based on her wig, we wouldn't know that she did hair.
Yeah, thank you, Love is Dope. Thank you for putting that out there as well, because I did not know that. I did not think that that's what she did. Like, to me, she was giving, she sell farmers insurance or something. She didn't do real estate. She didn't give me hairstylist. But okay, thank you for letting me know. So I hope Aunt Nikki, when if she does inherit the shop, that she does right by Monet because she does everything else in accordance. So I hope she does it right by her as well. Moving on from there, we then have the speaking of Aunt Nikki, we didn't have a scene of Granny driving. So Granny still drives, y'all. She still got it. Aunt Nikki was looking kind of nervous, where she was like, "Oh, I don't know how this is about to end," but they make it to where they are, and Aunt Nikki pretty much tells her, that Nicole's idea was good, and that she feels like that's. She said it on Twitter. Okay, okay, Aunt Nikki. But she pretty much tells Aunt Nikki that she doesn't want any parts of this because she's never seen everyone getting that agile in the place. She's never seen her argue, and she doesn't like it. So to nip it in the bud, she said, "Hey, I'm just going to go ahead and sell it." Now, on Nikki's standpoint, she's like, "Dang, I wish she wouldn't have said that because I understand, she's gonna do what she wants to do." But Jermisha's idea was brilliant, and she wishes that she can elevate it. So speaking of which, we'll go ahead and move on to that scene. So Jermisha meets with, the land developers and has the meeting and everything, and they were running out numbers because Nikki called Jermisha and said, "Hey, Granny is not on board with this. So if you're gonna do this, you need to sell it quick." So Jermisha is still trying to pitch this, regardless of Granny putting her foot down. She feels like she has some leverage. So when she meets up with the developers and they're running the numbers of doing the land development of building homes and then doing the sale, they run up the numbers where it actually would be less if they were to sell individual homes versus them just selling land outright. And they know Granny not gonna go for that. She's gonna go for the highest bid. So they were like, okay, so they brought up Nicole's idea where if you subleased some of them and then had people purchase them, the developer said, well, that's going to be tough because your buyer is going to wonder why, in actuality, why are they investing in the property when their person next door is just renting? And I feel like that's what people do all the time. People buy homes and then they rent them out. Who's to say the investor isn't going to do the same thing? Buy the house from them and then rent it out. I kind of felt like he was losing me a little bit because I've seen that where I see the whole real estate development buy a lot of land, build homes only to rent them out.
I
And then you
know
have,
that it's common because I have friends who live in Texas, Houston specifically. There's no
mhm,
zoning laws out there like there is in California, so you can essentially just put housing or whatever anywhere. And so people who tend to buy homes like to buy homes in areas where it's like strictly homeowners or there's a homeowners association versus living next door to a rented house where you could have a different neighbor every year, every month, every couple
mhm,
of months, which sometimes people don't like. Um, so that's like starting to be something that home buyers are looking at. I know that's happening in California, Oregon, and especially Seattle, especially with all these, what is it called, where they just be in houses,
mhm.
squatting. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it's like for some people that's a thing, but these people are getting on my nerves with this whole I'm kind of annoyed with Jamisa. Like, if your granny says she don't want to do it, let it go.
Mhm.
Let it go.
I agree. I agree. Squatters, thank you. Yeah, because I was
Thank
thinking that's
you.
what it
I
was
could
too.
not think
Yeah.
of that word for the life of me, but
In Phoenix, we don't really have that issue of like, because land developers build homes all the time. And then you have some people like, I remember when I first did real estate in '09, and I remember one of the clients that my mentor had bought 7 houses in a line. And then he only rented out 3 of them. His daughter was moving here, so she got one of the homes because he paid cash for all 7. He got one of the homes for her to live in while she goes to school. And then I don't know what he did with the others. I just remember only 3 of them were rented. So so I don't know. I guess different shows for different folks because in Phoenix we don't really deal with that. I just you know go into that. But I just remember thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I don't think it would make much difference, but that makes sense. It makes sense. So they're still trying to execute this plan. I think Jermisha should. I think that it's still a brilliant idea to build homes on that land and have it be a legacy. I do because land never depreciates, you guys. Land can only go up from there. Like you only can. So for me, I still feel like Granny shouldn't sell it. That's just me, my point, period. I've been saying that since episode 1. I don't think she should sell it. But moving on from there, we have Jermisha cleaning out her house because she's going to have a family event. They meet up once a month. So Aunt Cheryl, Aunt Charlotte, and Aunt Jackie are in there peeling out the shrimp. And Jermisha takes the time to tell them about the conversation that Joy had with Lakeisha, and that Jaquita said that it was somebody in the family who got involved that shouldn't have got involved when they had their own situation. So the aunties was looking like the only person she could be talking about is Jackie because Jackie was the only one that was married at that time. And she goes, yeah, she's probably talking about me. And Aunt Jackie said, yes, I saw that he was not putting one foot in front of the other and going to go get Keisha. So I did. I brought her into my home. I never took Keisha to their house. I only had her in my home because I wanted her to feel loved from her father's side of the family, especially after the DNA came back. DNA test came back that she was theirs. And I take my hat off to Aunt Jackie because she didn't have to do that.
And the DNA test, the fact that there was even a need for a DNA test, that man knew he was sleeping with both women. I think that came
Hmm.
with joy. So that was her trying to find ways to make this child not a part of her life. That's just the beginning of the many red flags of this human.
Absolutely. So it seemed like these sisters don't really like Joy at all. That's the energy that I'm getting from them. They deal with her because that's their brother's wife, but at the same time, they're giving me that they can't stand her for some reason because it was like, well, what were we supposed to do? Just leave her out there, wanting her to find us when she got grown, and then wonder why we never came and saw her. And they said no. And if the shoe was on the other foot, if that was Nicole and Monet, they would do the same thing. They would go get them to make sure that they felt loved because the Bradens are a loving family. And I do get that vibe from them. I do get the vibe that they are a loving family and that they're there for one another, especially Aunt Jackie. Aunt Jackie is a champion for me. That's my ace right there. I like
They
her more
said
than any of
she's the
them.
sweetest one. They said
Hmm.
she is the sweetest one. And I think every person with their siblings knows there's always the ones that's nicer and then there's the others. But
Hmm.
that lady did the right thing. And it sounds like she took the situation with her stepson and tried to apply it so that they could have peace. You know, she was
Absolutely.
coming from a good place, but yeah, I agree with you, James. You could tell that they don't like joy. Like there's so
Yeah.
much that we probably don't know that they're not saying just because of Bubba. And now it makes sense why Nicole and Monet are so like, uh-oh, because they probably know that the aunties don't like their mama. That's why they
I
can't let
think, yeah,
go along
absolutely.
with her.
I think, yeah, I really, I wish they would let out some family. Like, what is the history of Joy? I need to know now because I want to know what has, because it seems like she's very standoffish. And then two, she feels very entitled. And I'm just like, man, you didn't marry no prize. Yeah, and they are. They're very sweet. All of them, like you could tell Aunt Jackie when she was raising these girls, that she really brought them up to be very loving and very aware women. That's why I do like Jaquita and Jermisha both because they're very astute and very, you can tell their heart is full of gold. You really can. So, as Jermisha is trying to understand the situation, Aunt Cheryl's over there. She's crying because you could tell her heart hurts for Keisha because Keisha did not get any closure in this situation with her father. She's still looked at as like the outside kid, and it's like she doesn't want Keisha to feel that way, and that's not love that none of them can give her. It has to come from Bubba. But I don't even think Bubba really can give this kind of love because he looked like he wasn't taught that himself. I mean, I'm sure he was taught it because they said no, he knew better. He just, I don't know, influenced by his wife maybe. So as they're still cleaning, it's the actual event coming up. I'm just gonna jump to the event, and everyone gets there, and they ask her, "Is Aunt Joy coming?" And they said she should be coming. So Keisha gets there. They all are, they got, and they all sit at this table. And I don't know who started this conversation. I didn't catch it, but they pretty much said, "So what happened, Keisha, with you and Joy?" And she said, "Well, I just, brought up. I wanted to know what happened and why didn't y'all ever come get me?" And Joy fixed her mouth to say, it was a conversation that needed to be had between me and my husband. And we never really got that chance to decide when to come get you because we had someone else here that intercepted. And that's when they were like, someone like who? And this is the go, who they talking about? Who they talking about? And when the lady said they had to be a decision, Keisha was like, so if y'all had not come to a decision, would he had ever come and get me if Aunt Jackie never did? And Joy didn't have an answer because you know what? Let me tell you, the answer was no. To me, and I have to say this, y'all, to me, I feel like Joy was trying to keep that man distracted long for this situation because she didn't want it to be this situation. So she was going to have that situation ignored as long as possible. So we thank God for Aunt Jackie for making that initiative because at the end of the day, I don't think that he would have ever went and got Keisha. I just don't feel that way. And I don't care what nobody tells me. If he wanted Keisha to be in his life, he would have went and got her, not at age 7, but age 1, age 2, age 3. And he would have made a better relationship with her mother to make sure that she was always there. Keisha talks about how she's not in family photos. She's talked about how she, always felt like she was on the outs. And I can only imagine now that she does not have her mother, how that feels. Because now I feel like, even though she doesn't have her mother, I feel like she doesn't have her father either. And her father is living. And to hear his wife say blatantly in front of her that we were going to come get you, but he and I needed to have that conversation first. It was like, what
Bitch,
the
it's
fuck
not
was the
about you.
conversation?
Even if you
Right.
guys needed to have a conversation because you were upset about being cheated on, it's not about you. If you choose to stay with him and then you choose to marry him and then you choose to have another baby with him, then you have to accept what comes with him, and his child comes with him. And it's crazy that she didn't think in her head, like, oh, he had 2 girlfriends, was sleeping with another woman at the same time that she was pregnant. And it's crazy that her brain doesn't go to, oh, wow, if the tables were turned and she chose Keisha's mom, I could be a single mom with a dude who don't care to come around his child. Like, she doesn't think that way. You could
No,
just
she doesn't think into it.
maybe.
She just thinks that, no, you know what her thought is because she thinks she won. That's all this is.
All she won was a man who talked like he didn't pay attention in his important years of elementary school that involves read, writing, and arithmetic. He probably needs a speech therapy class. What did you win?
That's
What
what we're
did
trying to
she
figure
win?
out because at the end,
And
because you know
and
why.
he got the man, and he's still, from what Nicole says, he wasn't the best father to Nicole and Monet either. So you won the man, but he wasn't no better of a father to her own kids who was in the same household, and he don't know how to speak.
It's just to say she has a man because she gives me that she doesn't want to be alone. So, yeah, I'm going to marry this man because I had the first baby. I won the prize. And it looks like she was saying, "Oh, well, I'm just going to distract him as long as I can because I really don't want that baby in here. I just don't." And I don't appreciate Jackie over there going to go get her behind our backs because that's not her place, but she got her own situation. That's what this lady is saying. That's exactly what this lady is saying. And that is insane. That is crazy as hell. That is crazy to hell to know that your husband has a whole child that he didn't get involved with. And we don't even know if he got involved with her when Aunt Jackie went and got her because Aunt Jackie said she was at her house the entire time. So we don't know at what age that this man actually got involved with Keisha. So yeah, it's just weird. It's just really weird and it's really strange. Like this lady has this kind of vitriol like this. Like this was beyond me because it wasn't like you were married to this man when you had Nicole. So it's like you could have easily got out the situation and been with somebody else.
Yeah, it's
Like
unfortunate. It's unfortunate, the situation, but if there's a season 2, I don't want to see half sister. I don't want to see that no more. I don't. She
she
wants it.
did. She won. She did, and that's why I said she feel like she won. That's what this whole thing is about. You feel like you won, but you realize that baby was never going anywhere. Especially with his sister having to step up what he should have been doing and going to make sure that she had a relationship with her niece and make sure that she knew that her niece was loved, not just by her, but all the rest of her siblings and her cousins and her aunts and her grandmother. That's all she needed to know in that moment. And that's all she did. And I felt like there was nothing wrong with that. Jackie was not wrong in that. I'm sorry, she wasn't. No one can tell me that Jackie was overstepping because I don't feel like she was. If I knew I had a niece or nephew out there and I knew one of my siblings was not coming to the play, best believe I'm going to go get my niece or nephew and making sure that they know that they're loved. Absolutely, I would do it. So the hell with what this is going on. And it really bothered me to see Monet and Nicole jump to their mother's defense and their father's defense, where because Monet said, "Well, y'all didn't really give him a chance to step up," and it was like he had 7 fucking years.
It doesn't matter if anyone
I,
gave him the chance to step up. Let me tell y'all, a man that wants to see his child, a woman that wants to see her child, is going to see their child. My dad, he's a good man now, has changed his life, but he went to prison, jail constantly throughout my entire childhood. And in the middle of my parents' divorce, he went to jail. Do you know that that man was fighting to see us from the jail cell? If somebody wants to see their child, it doesn't matter their circumstance, they will find a way to see their child, especially in the day and age where fathers are starting to have more and more rights in court. If you want to see your child, you'll see your child. He did not see that girl for 7 years. He did not think about it. And then he was emotionally unavailable as love is still provided to us, to the kids that he did have. He just was not built to be a father. And I've said it prior. I feel like Oscarine and her passed on husband, they had a lot of success at a time when things were much cheaper. I feel like their kids are spoiled. All of the aunties, the siblings, I feel like they're all spoiled to
Oh,
some extent.
especially Aunt Nikki. She's probably the worst
The
of them
most,
all.
yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you can
she's probably
just
the worst of them
tell.
all because she has siblings that are at least, I want to say Bubba and Jackie have to at least be between 15 and 20 years older than she is. So I have to wonder if a lot of her upbringing was more so of them also spoiling her as well because she's still so young and impressionable. This Monet and Nicole pissed me off because it kind of felt like y'all are making excuses for a man that y'all both, well, at least Nicole, has said was not emotionally there. So if he was not emotionally there for you, he physically was not there for your sister.
That's
What
right.
makes that what makes that any more wrong than I'm sorry, them two pissed me off with that one. I'm sorry.
Your
They did.
sister has a right to. The thing that makes me mad is they know they got some sort of story from their mom. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
she don't got nothing. She don't got a story. She don't got nothing. All she can do is ask questions. And you're getting in the way of her having answers. It makes me mad because they have no clue what it's like to go basically the bulk of your childhood without knowing a father and then suddenly have to be thrown into this big family. That's what they're being quiet on. Love is dope. They trying so hard to protect all these OGs from their mama to the grandparents, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
realize it's making it worse for everybody. Because just like you just asked, where's Granny and Papa in this? I guarantee you, hundreds of thousands of people who watch the shows always also asking the same things now.
Yes, because I don't understand. Granny don't take me as the type that would have let this happen. I don't know what happened when Papa was alive, but she don't give me, based on what we're seeing today, she doesn't give me that she would turn a blind eye to Frank or Bubba's, you know, way. She doesn't give me that.
But Bubba's ways came from somewhere too. That's the psychologist to be. I'm sorry. Bubba's ways came from somewhere. So I'm wondering what he, as the only son, saw going on with his father when he was alive. But
Interesting point. Interesting point because I wouldn't, never put
he
that
got it
together
from
like that.
somewhere. He learned that behavior from somewhere. Two girlfriends? Nah, player.
No, yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I feel like there is something there, but I don't know what it could be. And because of how Nicole, Monet, and Joy, and how that family circle is, it's really hard to, decipher what really happened and why his ways aren't really addressed and why are we just giving him passes. Because to me, I feel like Joy gave him a pass and she's trying to put the blame on Jackie, and I don't like that. I just don't like that at all. Yeah. I really think we are, but yeah, something is definitely going on here. But I don't know, y'all. It was a to be continued. It was a really, as I said, a very good episode. Seems like next week Lakeisha is going to get some of that anger out of her father, which that's exactly where it needs to go. I can't wait to see it because y'all, Joy was wrong. I'm sorry, she was. There's no other way to put this. Yeah. Mm, yeah, that's true. No, yeah, that's true too. And I think like if it had, and as I said, I feel like Aunt Jackie was gonna do this regardless of whatever, but however Bubba feel or Granny or Papa, however they felt, she was gonna do it anyway. because that's wrong. You don't leave no child out there wandering and not knowing who her father is and knowing that her father has this big ass damn family. Like, no, you're not. I commit, like I said, Jackie is the MVP for me this season. That's already my favorite out of all of them. So I'm sorry, y'all. I don't see. I like the other aunties too. I do, with the exception of Aunt Nikki. I don't see it for her, but Aunt Jackie is the MVP. That's my favorite of this whole show so far, and it's probably gonna stay like that because she is just it's something about her that I just love automatically. She just gives so much comfort. So I'm here for Aunt Jackie. I don't care nothing about what Joy. So there's nothing they can say to me next episode that's going to justify this. Yeah. So is there anything you want to add, Mrs. Best, before we end this live?
No, I hope these people find a great family therapist. That's about it.
Yeah, Carlos. We hope you got some, definitely some family therapy because this family is gonna need it. It's too many people coming out on this show reviewing it and recapping it and talking on social media about how wrong this shit is. I'm just saying. Yeah, because Chris has a daughter and Jaquita. Yes, you could tell they were brought up to always love when they find their bloodline, or even when it's not their bloodline. If you're a part of the family, you're a part of the family. We don't care how you got here, you here now. And that's what I love about this family is that they don't care. As long as you here, you here. I don't know what happened to Bubba in that family tree over there, but you could tell the rest of the aunts, Aunt Jackie, Aunt Charlotte, Aunt Cheryl, and hell, maybe even Aunt Nikki. I don't know. But you could tell that that's not how they were brought up. You could tell. You could tell that they were brought up to always love and make sure that if they are family or potential family or they're trying to come into family, we gonna love them. So I love it. But was a good episode, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I actually really enjoyed the episode. Family Empire Houston is given. Like if y'all are not watching this show, I don't know where y'all at, but I love the whole dynamic of the show, and I'm so glad I picked it up because I am enjoying watching it. So, is there anything you want to add, Mrs. Best?
No, that's about it.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to end this live. Ree and Mrs. Best are going to go live again for the last live of the evening. We're going to do a updates video. A lot is going on in the shows I recap, so we're going to talk about some things here. So I can't wait to see you guys on the next recap. Bye. Peace out, everyone.